Dear Misty, I am 17 years old. My question is, how do I get myself to talk to my crush? We go to the same school. He is a sophomore. I am a junior. We have never spoken before, but how do I start up a conversation? Okay. It doesn't matter what you say. It just matters that you say something. It could be anything. The fact is, you like him, you need to say something to him, especially since you're older and # more mature. So, what I would do, you don't want to come off too strong, because if you do, it might scare him away. Like, don't walk up and be like, hey, do you want to make out? That's what I do in drag, like, because I know they're gay and they don't want anything to do with me anyway. But I do that a lot, like, hey, do you want to make out? Whatever, I'm just obnoxious. But as a boy at school, I would never have done that. But what I would have done is, if you see him come out of, like, let's say, my favorite teacher in middle school was Mrs. Beck. She taught English, but she was hard as fuck. I remember the first several months, I hated her. She was so hard. But then when I graduated 8th grade and went to 9th grade, I looked back at my 8th grade year and I was like, whoa. I loved her. She made me learn so much. But plus I was dyslexic and I hated English. I hated grammar. I hated anything to do with my disability. Like, I really hated it. And I remember looking back thinking, she really forced me to learn. And I respected her and liked her for that. But in your situation, if you ever see him coming out of, like, Mrs. Beck class, for example, you could, like, bump into him and be like, oh my gosh, I saw you coming out of Mrs. Beck class today. Oh, do you like her? Start a conversation. Don't say yes or no things, because you don't have to be like, yeah, and then keep walking, or no, keep walking. Be like, invoke conversation, like, oh my gosh, do you like her? And he, or what do you think of her? Say that. What do you think of her? And he'd be like, oh, I don't know, I think she's really hard. And be like, oh gosh, she was so hard on me too. But at the end of the year, I realized she really forced me to learn. And I think that she's now my favorite teacher ever. You know, and start conversation, be like, hey, if you ever need help, I could help you. Or like calculus or math or whatever, be like, hey, I took her last year and I might still have my notes. Or if you ever need help studying, I would love to help you. Or if you want to go to the movies or whatever. But you start conversation. And especially in school, friendships are based on interaction. You both do the same things. So if you're both in math club or if you're both in choir, the chance of you being friends are a lot more. It's just weird how that works, especially with guys. Girls, their relationships are based on communication. Guys' relationships are based on time, hanging out with each other. That's how you become close. You could sit on the pier or the bridge or the porch and fish for 16 hours and not say one word, but you're best friends because you spent all day together. Who knew? It's weird how that works. Yeah. But yeah, again, I'm going to tell you, it's not what you say, it's the fact that you need to say something. And offer help, offer guidance, offer support. Oh my gosh, sophomore was a really hard year for me. If you ever need help, I'm here for you, bud. You know? Or I could help you pick your teachers for next year or whatever. Just start a conversation. But you might need to spy on him first to see what to talk about, what he's currently doing. Or if you're like, if it's having a social function, like, oh, I'm in International Business Leaders and we're having a pizza fry or whatever, a pizza dinner or a movie night or whatever, be like, would you like to come? You know, especially if you're not sure if he would be interested in you, if he's, I don't know if you're gay or straight or whatever, and you don't know he is either, don't invite him. The chance of you inviting him on to something one-on-one would face more rejection. But if you invite him to a social event or a function where there's a lot of people, he might be more apt to go. There's no pressure. You never know. But good luck, babe. Loving you, Susie.